Cheaper by the Dozen, a 1950 film for all the family based on the book of the same name published in 1948, features the exploits of Frank Bunker Gilbreth and his wife Lillian, who over the years produced an even dozen offspring, 6 girls and 6 boys, born between 1905 and 1922. Now in the film, the order from the oldest to the youngest child was Anne, played by Jean Crane, Ernestine, played by Barbara Bates, Mary, played by Betty Barker, Martha, played by Patty Brady, Frank Jr., played by Norman Ollestad, Lily, played by Carol Nugent, William, played by Jimmy Hunt, Fred, played by Anthony Sides, Dan, played by Teddy Driver, Jack, played by Roddy McCaskill, Jane, played by Tina Thompson, and Baby Robert, played by, well, your guess is as good as mine. As you would expect in a film with 12 kids, each child gets their featured moment in the film. All that is, except Mary. As I watched the trials and tribulations of a family held together by a dominant but fair patriarch, ably and equally supported by his loving and intelligent wife, both of them engineers, I noticed that in many of the scenes the character of Mary was often obscured in the group shots, or Mary would be the one child with her back to us in other scenes. Mary never had a line of dialogue in the film, which I thought strange considering that she was the third oldest and would probably have had an opinion on the goings-on in the house of Gilbreth. Not even when the children are greeting their father after a long trip does Mary seem to add to the cacophony of noise made by her siblings, probably being directed to mouth her excitement, which may suggest that her contract and therefore her pay did not include her to make any such noise on the film's soundtrack. This, of course, is just speculation. My first thought was that Betty Barker wasn't actually an actress, and indeed on her IMDb page, Betty has only the one credit. This certainly looked to be true until I dug deeper and found that she was named Macy's Child Star of the Year sometime in the 1940s, and according to the IMDb, appeared in the Broadway production of Showboat from January 1946 to January 1947. Although it seems to be that Betty did not do any acting as an adult and eventually moved out to Las Vegas to live out her days, passing away at the age of 80. The answer to this mystery is in the real-life story of Mary Gilbreth and the artistic liberties that 20th Century Fox took with her inclusion in the film. After all, there were a dozen children, weren't there? In real life, Mary Gilbreth was actually the second-born child to Frank and Lillian. At the end of 1911 there was an outbreak of diphtheria, and Anne and Mary caught the infection. And whilst Anne quickly recovered, Mary did not, and sadly died on the 31st of January 1912, at the age of only 5. 3 of the other 4 children then came down with the disease, but luckily recovered. At this time, 7 of the children were yet to be born, so there never actually was a dozen children in the house at any one time. In the book, Mary was only mentioned once, as it was too sad for the family to talk about her passing. Mary is present throughout the 1950 film, and her inclusion was more of a tribute to her, and to show that she would never be forgotten by the family, as well as making sure there was indeed an even dozen, as in the film's title. And we can understand why there was never anything for her to say in the script. Her presence is more in the heart of the family than in the storyline of the film. From the point of view of the film's production, this was meant to be an uplifting family comedy that was released over the Easter holidays in America. The death of a child is a difficult and devastating subject to broach, and not good family viewing in the 1950s. Incidentally, in the follow-up film, Bells on Their Toes, Mary is left out altogether, and we only see the remaining 11 children.